In ancient Egypt, women used to make the beer, and then in the Industrial Revolution, men started making beer. But then craft beer came around, and women came back into the industry.
I was in college studying biotech, and we had a class called bioreactions, where I don't know how they wrote the course syllabus that the dean didn't know what we were doing, but all we did was make beer. And I was good at it. I knew nothing about beer, but I did some tricks with my yeast, and I got, imperial browns, and I turned, nut browns into porters and all this stuff. And my teachers were like, you could be a brewer. And I'm like, that's a job option? My name's Jamie Barch, and I am the brewmaster at Wisconsin Dells Brewing Company.
I first started brewing and looking into the brewing process when I was bartending at a craft beer bar and just really wanted to know more about what I was serving and where all this stuff comes from. My name is Ashley Kennard. I'm a brewer for Capital Brewery in Middleton.
My background actually started in home brewing, and before that wine brewing and cider making. Once I got into home brewing, it kind of became that slippery slope where it was the all-encompassing obsession. I'm Allison Rolfe. I am the head brewer at Thristy Pagan in Superior, Wisconsin. I've been the head brewer there for about 2 years.
I first started bartending at Tyranena, and after about a year of begging and pleading to learn the craft of brewing, I was given the opportunity to work with Rob. I'm Andrea, and I'm an assistant brewer with Tyranena Brewing Company. I've been with the company about 3 years. Before then, I was in school for a long time, and I worked as a hospital administrator for many years.
I started on this whole path when I was a senior in high school. I looked under a microscope and I saw microbes, and I absolutely fell in love. I spent time after school just staring through the microscope and learning about organisms that you couldn't see with the naked eye. And it evolved from there, really. So I got my bachelor's in microbiology with an emphasis in infectious disease at South Dakota State University, and right now I'm working on my master's at UWL in the clinical microbiology program. I feel that brewing is a natural offshoot of microbiology because of the sheer involvement of yeast and how important it is to keep that yeast happy and healthy and producing all of the alcohol and esters and the wonderful byproducts that you need to make really good beer. So being a microbiologist and being a brewer, just walking hand in hand down a delicious beery lane. I'm Brittany Brown. I am an assistant brewer here at Pearl Street Brewery in La Crosse, Wisconsin.
My background is actually meteorology and geosciences. I have a master's degree in geosciences from UW-Milwaukee. My background in hops all started when I was a volunteer at Allen's Centennial Gardens on the campus at UW-Madison. And I was digging weeds, and the head gardener there said, "Hey, do you want a hop plant? See that? That's growing in the wrong place. You can take that home with you if you want." Because basically it was growing as a weed. It was just in the wrong spot. So I took it home with me, and it's been growing up the corner of my deck ever since. I am Christine Mulling. I am one of the partners at Gorst Vally Hops. We are located in Mazomanie, Wisconsin, and we are hop growers, processors, and sellers for the craft brewing community.
We milk 45 cows, so it's a real small family dairy. And to support both families, we kind of needed to look at something else to go into. So hops kind of just fell into that game. I'm the 5th generation dairy farmer, 1st generation hop grower. My name is Amy Wiegand. I'm the owner of Redhead Hops. Right now we have about 1.5 acres, which correlates to about 2,000 strings that we pull every year for those vines to grow up.
My name is Amanda Dix. I have a degree in environmental horticulture from the University of Minnesota, and I am also a home brewer.
Amanda came to me several times for a position we would advertise for, and actually I rejected her several times because I thought she was overqualified for what we were looking for. So I relented and brought her in as a temporary field tech, and all of about 3 days into it, she says to me just out of the blue, "You know what we should do?"
I suggested that he should build a greenhouse so we can start producing hops and propagating them and selling them, and so he
discussed it with the rest of our board, and they said the numbers make sense, let's do this. So what went from basically a 90-day temporary hand weeding job turned into a full-time salaried greenhouse propagation specialist position for Amanda.
So here we are, and we're going to start producing some hops.
For a brief period of time in the 1860s and 70s, Sauk County and the surrounding area grew 20% of the world's hop production. And now we've got this wonderful community of craft brewers in the region who are just itching for high quality ingredients to make their beers so much out of the ordinary.
My undergraduate degree is in biology from UW-Madison with a lot of organic chemistry, biochemistry, and physics, which happens to be very relevant for brewing, although I didn't know that at the time. I homebrewed for a few years before I even had an idea to get into it professionally. And then I did some schooling with Siebel, or in the World Brewing Academy, based in Chicago and just outside of Munich in Germany. I started at Capital part-time just to kind of get my feet wet, keep my knowledge going after I've gone to school, and then coming back and trying to just keep my knowledge in play. The way I see it, I'll never know everything there is to know about brewing beer.
When I graduated, I did my graduating college internship at Moose Jaw. I worked for free for 5 months, scrubbing floors, polishing tanks. I got nowhere near the beer. I think they thought I'd just walk away someday. All I did was like carry heavy things, but they kept me on, started to pay me. I would bartend at night to make money and come in 5 a.m., scrub floors, polish tanks, and along the way, the brewmaster taught me little bits of things, and then the company sent me to the Master Brewers Association of America for brewing and malting, and upon completion, I came back and took over the brewery in 2005. So I've been, next year will be my 10-year anniversary of running the brewery.
The Milwaukee Beer Barons gave me a scholarship last year for a Siebel class, so that's the only formal education that I've had other than reading a lot, learning a lot of hands-on, talking to other brewers, asking questions, and just experience on the job. I did about an 8-month internship with the former brewer there, and when he left, I took over.
I'm not necessarily competition-based. I enjoy brewing to sort of play with the flavors. I brew for gifts, giving them to friends and family. I brew for pairing them with food, which is one of my big passions. Classy Ladies Craft Beer Club. I'm a co-founder with Laura Meyer here in town. It's a bunch of women that get together. We pair a series of appetizers. We focus during the tasting primarily on how the flavors interplay, and we allow the menus to be easily available online so that women can use them in introducing other women to beer.
I inherited my love of gardening from my mother, and the very odd thing was, as long as I was living with my mother, I wasn't really into gardening, but it was just always there. Some of the work I do is related to meteorological satellite studies. So my research folds directly into this company. I pick up a lot of things through my modeling and my research that are directly related to climate, to weather, to plants, to soil. And we use that to make environmentally sustainable hop production processes, and we use that to educate our growers.
Our first year I planted 1,600 rhizomes, and at the end of that year our total harvest was 27 dry pounds. The second year we had 250 dry pounds. Last year, at the end of our third year, we ended up with 750 dry pounds. When you get to a mature acre, you're going to look at, hopefully, somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 dry pounds total per acre. These ones were actually very stressed their first year. So these are males, the cones are females. So a lot of these plants in here are hermaphrodites. Hermaphrodite plants are like 92% sterile. So I've got pretty good odds that these ones aren't going to end up with real seeds and be pollinated.
So what we did was cut our vines down, take them over to Bahika Hops in Toma, which is Bob and Jim Conant, ran them through their wolf picker, brought them back to our own farm, dried them, and then brought them here today.
So how long did it take you with your own machine?
Oh man, it would have taken, I'd still be harvesting. I would still be doing it, absolutely. So what we're doing in one day with a wolf harvester would probably have taken us anywhere from 3 to 5 days. If we hand pick, we would still probably be on our first variety, absolutely.
The reason that we're going to start growing them in the greenhouse is because we have a lot better control of the environment. So when they're small little cuttings, we can control the environment so they can grow properly and strong and healthy, and also so we can eradicate all the diseases and viruses that would want to infect the plants. So they're going to be, it's going to be a biocontrolled greenhouse. They're going to be very clean and managed properly.
When I was started off, my first year or so, I met Terry Ferendorf, and she had just quit her job at Steelhead, and she was coming across doing her tour. And when she got to my brewery, I told her, I'm like, I've never met another woman. I didn't even know other women existed in the industry, because as a brewmaster, I go to the Brewer Guild meetings and the MBA meetings, and it was all just boys at the table. And so when I met her, that's where she kind of got the idea to start the Pink Boot Society, because we actually both had pink boots on. I used to wear pink boots because I felt if I wore black ones, everyone thought I was the janitor.
I do have a pair of pink boots. Yeah, I'm part of the Pink Boot Society, and I found a really cool pair of Realtree pink boots. So they got a little bit of camo and leaves and stuff on them. They're my fancy going out boots.
I always tell people you have a better shot at becoming a neurosurgeon than you do a brewer. Not just being a girl, but any kind of guy, because you have to compete with everybody and their brother for the job. So you really have to be willing to do what the other person won't. You gotta learn more than everybody else, and especially as a girl, you gotta be willing to get physical, get dirty, learn more than the next guy next to you. You've gotta know electrical, plumbing, engineering, biochemical hazmat, how to drive a forklift. You can't just say, I know how to make beer and call it quits, because there's so many more aspects of it. You have to be able to do taxes, read Senate bills, because they change the laws on us constantly. So it's really, you have to become a complete brewer if you really want to get in there and learn all aspects of brewing, not just I can make a porter.
My advice to any woman getting into the brewing industry is just the same as it is for any guy getting into the brewing industry. Learn as much as you can, read as much as you can, have as much experience as you can. Find a brewery that's going to let you in and volunteer. Ask questions, practice as much as you can. If you homebrew as much as you possibly can. Get into a situation where you can shadow somebody or just volunteer in their brewery. It's the same whether you're a man or a woman in this industry, really.
Men in brewing and women in brewing, the only difference is, a superficial gender difference. If you think that you're interested in getting into brewing, go for it. There's breweries looking for brewers all the time, and, get your foot in the door, start, offer to clean a tank or offer to come in for a bottling session. As long as you're passionate about the beer and you're interested, they'd love to have you. I've found more resistance from the customers than the actual men in brewing. The men in brewing are just excited to see us, and they're glad that we're there, and they think it's great. They're all about diversity. I haven't met a male brewer who doesn't want other female brewers. Go for it.